Hey team, today's video is just to share some tips for half marathon race day. What should you be doing leading into your main half marathon race? I have an athlete that I'm working monthly with, and he is running a half marathon on October 9th, and he actually asked me this recently. What are some half marathon tips for race day that you suggest? In terms of me going into this race on the 9th of October, and some of the things I kept in mind, even in my own races, is do not do anything out of the ordinary. Don't try to change up what you've been doing in training. Don't get new racing shoes and race that half marathon or your particular race in new shoes that you just got. Okay. My recommendation in terms of eating your breakfast, minimum 2 hours, preferably 3 hours before that half marathon. That way there is zero chance of you being in the race and being on record pace and you having to jump in a porta-john and lose that overall race finish time that you were aiming for, that you were going to get. Watch your pacing. Okay, if you're going to run up a new personal best for the half marathon, do not try to win the first do not try to win a half marathon in the first 10 kilometers of that race. Okay, do the very best you can to run a negative split. Get out conservative. Run within about 5 to 7 seconds of your goal race pace for the first 6 miles of the race, or the first half of that half marathon, around the first half, and then run a negative split, and then really start drilling down, running 5 to 7 seconds faster or quicker for the second half of your half marathon race. Do the very best you can also to stay as relaxed as you can. The athletes that are the most relaxed, that have the less a small amount of tension in their body, usually perform the best. Okay, that's why I always stress to make sure that you're practicing staying relaxed in training. Okay, it's so easy to start tensing up and sometimes not even knowing you're doing it, even while you're running easy. It's even more, it's more of a task when you're running faster tempo runs, you're doing track workouts. But these are issues that we can correct with practice. Okay, so even when you're out running slow, and especially when you're doing repeat kilometers on the track, or you're doing hill repetitions, or you're out doing a long run and you're doing those varied pace long runs I talk about, make sure that you consciously tell yourself to I'm in control, relax, stay calm, stay relaxed. So that way you continue to run as optimal and as economically, as efficiently as you possibly can, with the least amount of muscle tension in your body. Okay, so that's another tips in terms of going into the half marathon race day, and especially once you're in that race. Another tip is, again, just staying as calm as you possibly can the morning of the race. Okay, it's normal to have some pre-race jitters, but let your competition be stressed out. I mean, really think about this. You've spent several weeks, several months preparing for your half marathon race. Okay, my recommendation is to always make training the most difficult part of your preparation. Okay, the morning of the race is the celebration of that hard work. Okay, it's not the day for you to be overly tense, overly nervous, and even do the very best you can too, like the morning, not to overthink. There's a lot of times we as athletes we find it very hard to fall asleep the night before a race, and my recommendation is do the best you can to get as much sleep as you possibly can. The 5 to 6 days prior to, especially the first 5 days leading into your marathon or your half marathon race, because more than likely you may not get as great a sleep the night before, just because you're visualizing, you're going over the race in your head, and a lot of times we can't fall asleep, or we have problems falling asleep the night before a race. So make sure that you get plenty of sleep the 5 days leading into that half marathon. Okay, and that's really where it counts most. Not so much the night before. Of course, if you can get great sleep the night before, fantastic, okay? But really, it's those days leading into your half marathon that count the most. Another tip in terms of tips for half marathon race day is to make sure that you are hydrating well in the race. It's a half marathon. It's not a 5K. It's not a 10K. Okay, there are plenty of athletes out there that can run a 5K without drinking any fluid in the race. Again, because it's just over so quick. It's only 3.1 miles, 5 kilometers, even in the 10K. But 10K, I think once you get to 10K and higher, you really have to start paying attention to drinking and taking in a gel. In the half marathon event, taking in at least one gel, maybe two, but at least one gel, because that's an additional 150 to 200 calories that goes straight into your bloodstream immediately. Make sure you grab some water when you take that as well. I would recommend taking the gel probably around mile 7 or mile 8 in the half marathon. Even in my own half marathon races over the years, I always focused on taking a gel right around 7 to 8 miles in the race. So a little bit after, around 12 kilometers in the race, then focus on taking a gel in if you can do that. But make sure that you are hydrating well. Again, negative split. Focus on a negative split. Don't try to run too aggressive that you go into oxygen debt. You definitely want to get out. You can sprint all out for about the first 200 meters and not build up any lactic acid. Okay, so get out hard and then settle into your pace, but don't run so fast that you're running 15 to 20 seconds faster than your goal half marathon race pace in that first 6 miles. If you do that, more than likely you are going to crash and burn in that second half, and you're going to ruin your finish time. Okay, so again, we want to work smarter rather than harder. Okay, that is the whole philosophy around RunDreamAchieve.com. That's what, I already know you know how to work hard. Okay, as I talk about in other videos, there's plenty of people that work very, very hard in what they do, whether they're athletes or whether they're in business, but don't always get the results that they're seeking. Okay, so focus on training smarter. Have the mindset of a professional athlete. And professional athletes visualize success. They get plenty of sleep. They focus on their nutrition. They always are focused around how can I get better results by doing less rather than more. Okay, you can be running 100 miles a week or more and still never meet your half marathon race goal if you're running too aerobically throughout your buildup. Okay, so make sure that as you're training for your half marathon, you are spending plenty of time training well below your goal half marathon race pace. Okay, we want to improve the body's lactate tolerance so that you can teach the body to clear lactic acid faster than it's building up. You can sustain your race pace longer, and you can react to the changes and the surges and the changes and variations in pace in the race that your competition is going to be throwing at you. And more importantly, you'll be able to get into the race, make a move, and to be able to sustain that move and have the confidence that you can continue that on with that particular pace that you're aiming for from the start line all the way to the finish line. Okay, because again, you're focusing on all the fundamentals that go into running a great half marathon time. Okay, other things to keep in mind: make sure that you have your equipment laid out the night before, so you're not wasting any time the morning of the race. Trying to find your shoes and your singlet. Have all that stuff laid out the night before. Get to the race location. Make sure you have your hotel set up. Make sure you have all of your equipment, like I said, racing shoes. If it's colder temperatures, maybe arm sleeves or gloves, cap, everything. Have all that stuff out and in place the night before. Okay, and more importantly, just like I said, keep things in perspective. It's just a race. Okay. Again, have confidence in yourself, have confidence in the hard training that you've done. And again, the time to be stressed out and to be nervous and to be, tense is in training when it's the most difficult. Okay. It's the morning of the race. Go into that race feeling, if you've done your training properly. And again, I highly suggest checking out training plans and the running courses on RunDreamAchieve.com. Because if you follow a legitimate training plan, or if you're interested in coaching and you want to work one-on-one with me, those are resources there that will help speed up your recovery or speed up your progress and your success rate. Because again, you're following specific track workouts, specific strategies and fundamentals that not only I used over the past 30 years, but philosophies and fundamentals that I was taught by some of the world's top distance running coaches and distance runners, Olympians as well. So definitely check out the resources below all of my videos. They're there for you. And if you have any other questions regarding this particular topic, feel free to leave me a comment below. Let me know what is your personal best for the half marathon, and what is your long-term, like, pie in the sky, like, I want to run, eventually want to run this half marathon time, and kind of like where you want to run that time at. Is it a flat course? Is it a hilly course? I'd like to hear that from you all as well. So I wish you all the best. Look forward to hearing about your new personal best, and I will talk to you all in the next video.